5 or 6 things I have thought worthy to declare before I pass further. First, that I place not the speculative demonstrations with all these problems, but content myself to show them as at the finger's end, which was my plot and intention. Because those which understand the mathematics can conceive them easily. Others, for the most part, will content themselves only with the knowledge of them, without seeking the reason. Secondly, to give a greater grace to the practice of these things, they ought to be concealed as much as they may, in the subtlety of the way. For that which doth ravish the spirits is an admirable effect, whose cause is unknown, which if it were discovered, half the pleasure is lost. Therefore, all the finesse consists in the dexterity of the act, concealing the means, and changing often the stream. Thirdly, great care ought to be had that one deceive not himself, that would declare by way of art to deceive another. This will make the matter contemptible to ignorant persons, which will rather cast the fault upon the science than upon him that shows it, when the cause is not in the mathematical principles, but in him that fails in the acting of it. Fourthly, in certain arithmetical propositions they have only their answers as I found them in sundry authors, which anyone being studious of mathematical learning may find their original and also the way of their operation. Fifthly, because the number of these problems and their dependencies are many and intermixed, I thought it convenient to gather them into a table, that so each one according to his fancy might make best choice of that which might best please his palate, the matter being not of one nature nor of like subtlety. But whosoever will have patience to read on shall find the end better than the beginning. To the reader. It hath been observed by many that sundry fine wits as well amongst the ancient as modern have sported and delighted themselves upon several things of small consequence, as upon the feet of a fly, upon a straw, upon a point, nay, upon nothing, striving, as it were, to shew the greatness of their glory in the smallness of the subject, and have amongst most sound and solid and artificial conclusions composed and produced sundry inventions, both philosophical and mathematical, to solace the mind and recreate the spirits, which the succeeding ages have embraced, and from them gleaned and extracted many admirable and rare conclusions, judging that borrowed matter oftentimes yields praise to the industry of its author. Hence, for thy use, courteous reader, I have with great search and labor collected also, and heaped up together in a body of these pleasant and fine experiments to stir up and delight the affectionate, out of the writings of Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Demosthenes, Pythagoras, Democritus, Pliny, Hipparchus, Euclides, Vitruvius, Diophantus, Pergaeus, Archimedes, Pappus Alexandrinus, Vitellius, Ptolemaeus, Copernicus, Proclus, Maurolycus, Cardanus, Velopandus, Caplarius, Gilbertus Tychonius, Doritus, Josephus, Clavius, Galileus Magnus, Euphanus, Tiberil, and others, knowing art imitating nature that glories always in the variety of things which she produceth, to satisfy the mind of curious inquisitors. And though perhaps these labors to some humorous persons may seem vain and ridiculous, for such it was not undertaken, but for those which inventively have desired and sought after the knowledge of those things, it being an invitation and motive to the search of greater matters, and to employ the mind in useful knowledge, rather than to be busied in vain pamphlets, playbooks, fruitless legends, and prodigious histories that are invented out of fancy, which also many noble spirits dull their wits, and alienate their thoughts from laudable and honorable studies. In this tractate thou mayest therefore make choice of such mathematical problems and conclusions as may delight thee, which kind of learning doth excellently adorn a man, seeing the usefulness thereof, and the manly accomplishments it doth produce, is profitable and delightful for all sorts of people, who may furnish and adorn themselves with abundance of matter in that kind, to help them by way of use and discourse. And to this we have also added our pyrotechny, knowing that beasts have for their object only the surface of the earth, but hoping that thy spirit which followeth the motion of fire will abandon the lower elements, and cause thee to lift up thine eyes to soar in an higher contemplation, having so glittering a canopy to behold, and these pleasant and recreative fires ascending may cause thy affections also to ascend, the whole whereof we send forth to thee, and desirest the scrutability of things, nature having furnished us with matter, thy spirit may easily digest them, and put them finally in order, though now in disorder.